Okay, you guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. I am so excited to talk about leadership. Today I was thinking, what should I talk about? Like, what can help people take it to the next level to really grow, to really do big things? How many of you want to do big things? You're ready to rock and roll. You want to attract leaders. You want to be the leader, right? And make it all happen. Well, I want to first of all tell you my story, because no matter where you are, no matter, what your circumstances are today, they don't define what you can go create. Many, many years ago, when I first got in this industry, I was not a leader. I wasn't a sharp, successful business person. I was a preschool teacher. I worked with 3 to 5 year olds. I absolutely loved it, but I wasn't this strong, successful business person. And I definitely didn't feel like I was a leader. And so I want you to know that no matter who you are, no matter where you are today, okay, you actually are a leader and you are leading your life and you are creating things. But we're going to talk about how to bring that out of you, and then also how to attract people to you. Now, first of all, in order to attract leadership to you, you have to be the leader, right? Because you attract to you exactly who you are. And I'll never forget when I first got in this industry, I realized, okay, I want to bring sharp, successful people into my organization. So I've got to show up that way. I first have got to be the leader that I want to attract. And so the first step, write this down, is you got to be the leader that you want to attract. If you want sharp, successful people to come to you, understand the law of the lid. How many of you have ever heard the law of the lid with John Maxwell? Okay, John Maxwell explains this so well. But we are at a certain leadership level, right? Each and every one of us, we have a certain leadership level. And let's just say that on a scale from 1 to 10, okay, 10 being the greatest leader in the world, okay, and 1 being maybe not so good with leadership skills. Let's just say that I'm a level 5. Okay, well, if my leadership skills are at a level 5, then the law of the lid says that I can attract to me a level 1 leader, a level 2 leader, a level 3 leader, a level 4 leader, and a level 5 leader. But it's going to be hard for me to attract a level 6 leader if I'm a level 5 leader. I'm going to want to pull in other people that have higher leadership skills in order to attract the level 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leader, right? So the first step to attract successful, sharp people is you be that person. You show up that way. We're going to talk about 5 strengths of a great leader and how you're going to show up, right? But work on your leadership skills every single day. How do you do that? A mentor told me so many years ago that when I was 19 years old, I'm so grateful for this knowledge, but he said, you know what? You can overcome any problem or challenge. You just have to outgrow that challenge. You yourself have to grow personally. He also said 15 minutes of personal growth a day can take all of your financial troubles away. So I took this really seriously, and I'll never forget, I was gobbling up books and getting as much information as I possibly could. But the number one thing that I probably needed to do more than reading all the books is I had to implement it. Okay. So it is really important to personally grow, right? But every day, ask yourself, what did I learn from this? And what am I implementing today? What am I going to go do today from what I just learned to take my life to the next level? Okay. So that's the first thing. So you've got to be it before you're ever going to have it. You've got to be that person that you want to attract. And so show up that way. But how also can you attract leaders that are maybe at a higher leadership level than you still to come in your organization? Well, go and connect with the sharpest people you possibly can, right? Because first of all, we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with. So if you hang out with 5 idiots, guess what? You will be the 6th. But if you hang out with 5 champions, 5 amazing leaders, you will also be the sixth. So you can hang out with those people every single day through, incredible books, through podcasts. There's so many podcasts out there. There's so many amazing people that you can connect with, just even being on this call and being around all of you successful people. In fact, I just want to look at you guys for a minute. First of all, you guys are showing up as leaders, right? You are here. Some of you, it's 7 a.m. if you're on Pacific time, but you showed up. Or maybe you have kids that are running all over the place. How many of you have kids that you're trying to get to school today? Because, well, I know here in Boise, this was the first day of school for a lot of people. And so you are making it happen. You are leading your life because you are doing things that the average person isn't willing to do. So just remember that if you want to attract sharp, successful people, then you show up as the leader every single day. Show up to the conference calls, listen to the podcasts, do the trainings, but also the most important thing is do the work. So we're going to talk about 5 key things that you can do to attract people to you, and then also what you should look for to bring in those leaders to you. Now, one thing that I want to mention is, you guys, one of my biggest power tools that I used when I first got in this industry, like I said, I was not a sharp business person at that time. I was a preschool teacher. I worked with 3 to 5-year-olds. I didn't think of myself as a strong leader. But one of the things that I understood is the law of the lid. I knew that if I wanted to have sharp, successful people come into my organization, then I needed to be that person, but also I needed to use other people who had stronger leadership skills in my upline to bring in those people. Okay, so if you have somebody you're thinking about, okay, you want to go and connect with them, invite them to see this. Think of the sharpest people that you possibly can every single day. Think of that sharp person that you can go connect with, that you can invite to see this, but then utilize the leaders in your organizations, the ones that have already maybe created the success or are on their way to that success, and use their credibility. Okay, so for me, before I had success in this industry, before I had, built a multi-million-dollar business, before I had done all of those things, I actually used my upline, and I told their stories, and I said, listen, I've been thinking about you. I love your people skills. I love who you are. I love your motivation, your drive, your leadership. I've been watching you. I am connected with a gal who reminds me specifically of you. Now, this gal, she got started with our company, and she was just a stay-at-home mom, okay? But she took this on. She was able to build a multi-million-dollar business. She has led thousands of people in our organization. You got to meet this gal, okay? And I mean, you can tell stories. In fact, get out the Prosper magazine and read some of those stories, and then connect with some of your leaders and have them help you bring in some of these sharp, successful people. So for me, I'll never forget, I had a friend who I have known since 2nd grade. Okay, this gal, she's a year and a half older than me. And I always looked up to her because she's just super sharp, always had herself put together. You have those friends, right? And I just always looked up to her, and always done great things in business. And when I first got in this industry, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have got to get Cindy in the business. Like, I've got to connect with her. I've got to make this happen. I've got to do this. And so in the beginning, I had been inviting, and I had been doing different things, just like what you're supposed to do. But then I realized, you know what? I've got to make this bigger than myself. I've got to paint a bigger vision. I've got to get her with, somebody that has already led the way, that is making it happen. And I started connecting her with other people that had come in. In fact, I'll never forget how I set up the call. I said, Cindy, I've been thinking about you. I've always admired your incredible business skills. You are a people person. And I actually have connected with a gal out of Vegas who at one time, she was a dental hygienist. but she was able to walk away from her job, be home with her babies. She's now like killing it in the business world. She has built a massive organization, led thousands of people. As soon as I connected with this gal, I immediately thought of you, Cindy. Your business mind and hers would be amazing today. Now, I pulled some strings, but what time today do you think that you could get with this gal? This gal is super busy, but I told her all about you. She's excited to connect with you. Okay, now when you say, first of all, I pulled some strings to make this happen, like this doesn't happen all the time, right? This gal's super busy, like edify your upline. This gal's super busy. Say a little bit about their story, but then say, look, this is huge that she's willing to connect with you. So give me a couple of times that work for you, and I'm going to see what works for her. And by the way, do not flake on me because this is huge. Okay, this is how I was talking to Cindy, who I looked up to. Okay, but because of that one connection, I was able to close her in the business. This was 18 years ago. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have to be that strong, successful business person right now. I don't have to have all the credibility. I can actually push this on some of my leadership and help, or, you know, have them help me close the deal. See, so leaders make it bigger than themselves, always. They always paint a bigger picture. By me making it bigger than myself, it totally made Cindy want to look at this. Okay. Now, here's another thing. I would not be in this business today had I not, or had my brother-in-law not made it bigger than himself. My brother-in-law was actually 10 years younger than me. When I was first introduced to this industry, it was because of my brother-in-law, my husband's little brother. Now, my husband's little brother, at that time, I just thought of him as a young punk kid, right? That had no business being in business. I love him to death. Like I love him. Like he's my little brother, but I didn't think of him as a business person. Does this make sense? And so when he first came to me and said, Mindy, you got to look at this. And all I heard from him was blah, 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 blah. Network marketing, Terry, I'm not doing that. Terry, you don't know. I've already done that. I've been down the road. I'm not doing that. Right. And it took him 6 weeks to get me to actually look at it. You know how he got me to look at it? Well, he did the same thing. He said, Mindy, I've been thinking about you. You know, I've always admired you and your business skills. So even though I didn't think of myself as a business person, he thought of me as a business person. Okay, because he saw me leading an early education program, and he complimented me and he talked about the things that I had done. And then he said, listen, I connected with a gal here in Boise who used to be a registered nurse. She was able to walk away from her job. She's driving a Cadillac Escalade. He told me this story and it was true. And I was like, well, I want to drive a Cadillac Escalade. I want to be this gal. I want to be retired. I want to do those things. Yeah, get me on the phone with her. I don't want to talk to you, Terry, about this, but I do want to talk to her. You see what I'm saying? He put all the credibility on this gal, got me on the phone, and it closed the deal. He got me to look at it because of somebody else. So use the credibility of your leaders. This is so important. Use them as a power tool. Tell the stories. Remember that people don't care really about the facts. They care about the stories. They care about the emotion of it. Okay. So like, in the very beginning, I used to think that I had to have all the knowledge about the products. I had to have all the knowledge about, like, I don't know, the business and understanding the compensation plan and all the stuff. And it didn't work for me because in the very beginning, what I did is I tried to give my sister all of the facts. In fact, I'll never forget being on a call like this. And the person said, listen, when you go and you start connecting with people and you are inviting people to look at this, just remember, you don't have to be the expert. Let somebody else be the expert. You don't have to have all the facts. In fact, it's better if you don't. It's better if you just say, listen, I connected, you know, with this, or I have this amazing opportunity that I got connected with some sharp business people. What time today can you jump on a Zoom? What time today can you watch this? Okay, that's all you should say. Like that's kind of what these people this mentor was telling me. And I remember thinking, oh, I don't have to do all that. Like my sister, she's going to want to know the facts. She's going to want to know all the details, and she doesn't need to talk to anybody else but me. She's going to totally do it if I do it, right? Like that's what I thought. I'll never forget. I just threw up all over my sister. I told her everything, like how much you made, like all the details of it, how much it cost to get started. And all she heard was blah, 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 blah. Mindy, that's network marketing. I don't want anything to do with it. And she wiped up all the throw up that I had just thrown up all over her. She wiped it all off and she walked away. I was like, oh my gosh, if I can't get my sister to sign up, then I'm not going to get anybody to sign up. And then I realized it's not about the facts. It's about the stories. It's about what this business can do for people. The dreams that people have in their hearts and in their life, and sharing that if somebody else can do this, I can do this too. Okay. So remember, stories sell, facts will tell, but stories are the thing that sells. It took me 2 years to finally get my sister to join the business after me throwing up all over her and telling her too much. Okay. So we're talking about leadership right now. How do you attract sharp leaders to you? Number one, be the person that you want to attract. So be that leader you want to attract. We're going to talk about 5 key things that you need to be as a leader, okay, to start attracting leaders to you. And then also use the leadership of other people. Okay. If you're not necessarily that leader, maybe your leadership lid is here, but you are trying to attract somebody that has a leadership lid here, then utilize your upline. Like get them and get your sharp, successful people in front of sharp, successful people in our business. Does this make sense? Okay. And you know what? Here's the thing. We have events happening every night, Monday through Friday. You have a top leader doing an event that you can you get them in front of them. We're going to help you sign them up, help you rock and roll with those people so you can get them on those. And then if you need somebody to help close the deal afterwards, reach out to us. We will help you close the deal with some of these sharp, successful people. This is important. Okay, so what are 5 key things that you should be as a leader and that you should look for in a leader? So number 1, leaders are unsatisfied with average. Okay, they are unsatisfied. They are not satisfied with the status quo. Have you ever met somebody where you're just like, man, like their energy is so high and they're always thinking big and they're always taking it to the next level, and they're always doing more because they're not satisfied with the status quo. Okay, so first of all, look for those people. Look for the people that want more in their life. They're hungry. They're making it happen. And you be that person as well. Like if you are very comfortable every single day and you're just kind of going through life, okay, that's what average people do. But leaders, they go against the grain. Like in order to get into 3%, what do you have to do? You have to be willing to do what 97% of the people are not willing to do. So first of all, if 97% of the people around you think you're crazy, you're on the right track. Think about all of the successful leaders, in the world, like Steve Applegate, right? Like people just or Steve Jobs, okay? They just thought he was crazy. Henry Ford everybody thought he was crazy. Like he was always like pushing it to the next level. He was always, no, we can do more. No, we can make it happen more. Like people thought he was crazy. A lot of these sharp, successful people that did massive things, they were just not satisfied with the status quo. Okay. So think about, think big. Leaders, that's the second thing, is they think big. They have vision about where they're going and what they're creating, and they can see way past just right here. And so do you know where you're going? Do you have it in front of you everywhere you go? The biggest thing that changed for me in my life is when I realized, okay, I don't have to be fear for the rest of my life. I don't have to be stressed all the time about how I'm going to pay my mortgage and if my car is going to run and all the things that I was stressed about so many years ago. We had just started with a company that I was scared to death that I was going to lose everything that I put into this company. We got into the franchise space. This was before we were even in this industry. And I just never forget the fear that I had. Okay. And I realized I've got to have faith over fear. I've got to take my life to another level. I've got to figure this out. A mentor, like I said many years ago, said, when you have problems, when you are afraid, you can outgrow any of that. You just have to become bigger than that. And I got this book out, The Magic of Thinking Big. And first of all, it just taught me to think big, and that no matter where I am today, I have the power to go create something big. It doesn't have to be the status quo. I can go do something big. And I decided that this is how my life's going to be. And I made a statement for myself, and it was bold and it was strong. And it was kind of crazy, to tell you the truth, when you think about where I was so many years ago. But in this statement, I said bold things. And because of that picture or that little script that I wrote about how my life was going to be, within 5 years, I created everything in that statement because I focused on that. I focused on, this is who I am. This is what I'm creating. And I started showing up as that person creating that life. And so leaders know where they're going, first of all, and they have a clear picture of what they're creating. They're intentional about it, and they have big vision. Okay, number 3, leaders are bold every single day. So if you guys are like me, when I first got in the industry, I thought, okay, I've got to learn all of these things. Like, I've got to learn how to close. I've got to learn how to follow up. I've got to, learn how to invite. I've got to learn all these things, which you do. Okay, these are things that you are going to learn. But I was waiting to learn them. Like, I was getting on all the conference calls. I was doing all the things, but I actually wasn't doing the work or implementing what I was learning. And it wasn't until I realized, you know what, I know what to do. Deep down inside, each and every one of you, you know what to do. And how you find out what you need to do, it's the work that you're avoiding. Okay, think about it. So for me, I had a names list, and every day, my first 4 months in this industry, I would go through the names list and I would always skip over certain people on my names list because they scared me to death to go reach out to them and call them. Like, I was like, I don't even know why they're on my list. I don't even know if they'll take my call. Like, all of these things would go through my head. Like, what am I going to say to them? Like, what am I going to do with these people? Like, I had these huge fears to reach out to these people. And so I would skip over them every single day. And what I was realizing, I'm avoiding the actual work that I need to take, the action that I need to take in order to get the results that I have. So what work are you avoiding every single day? That is where your magic is. That is where you are going to go create something big. It's the work you are avoiding. If you think about and you listen to any successful person, like I think about some of the conferences that I've gone to, I bet you in every single speech, these are from billionaires, okay? Like Jamie Kern Lima, Sarah Blakely. I'm trying to think of all the people, the Cardones. The number one thing that they say, probably in every training that they do, run to the danger every single day. Run to what scares you every single day. Do the work that you want to avoid every single day. When you just say, okay, what's the work that I'm trying to avoid? I'm just going to eat that ugly frog first. I'm just going to do that work today. You're going to take your life to a whole nother level. See, leaders are bold. Leaders have courage. Leaders get uncomfortable every single day because they know that that's how they are going to grow. So get uncomfortable every single day. Here's the thing. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. It's okay. And when you get uncomfortable, that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you make changes in your life. We can't make any changes in our life if we're not, running to that danger, if we're not stepping out of our comfort zone, if we're not doing something that is different than our average status quo, right? And so run to the danger, face the fear every single day, do the work that you want to avoid, and just ask yourself, one thing that I've learned to do is in the first thing in the morning, I say, okay, what's the thing that I don't want to do today? I'm going to do that first. I just look at the list, or I think about, what it is. What's that number one thing that I really don't want to do? I'm just going to eat it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. So make the sacrifice, face the fear, just do it. And I promise you, you are going to be amazed at the growth that you have just even in a week. Even in a week, things will change for you. And that thing that used to scare you to death, like, it's just going to be so much easier and easier. I'm going to tell you a story. So I will never forget. First of all, I never thought that I would ever be a public speaker. Okay. I worked with 3 to 5 year olds. Like, when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader. And whenever we'd have a pep assembly, we had 6 of us girls, okay, and they would always say, okay, who's going to be the one that talks? I was always, no way, I will not. Like, I never wanted to speak. Like, speech scared me to death. I'll never forget my speech class. It scared me to death. Like, I was scared of public speaking. So I get in this industry, and all of a sudden now we're told, you got to present, you got to connect, you got to talk to people. And I always thought, well, I'm going to have my husband do that. Like, he'll just do that for me. And I'm just going to be in the background, and I'm just going to love on people and nurture people. That's what I thought I would do. And then Jeremy just pushed me out there one time. Like, it was probably our first month in the business, and we were at somebody's house. Okay. And we were doing a little meeting. There were about 15 people there, and he had me get up and do it. And you guys, I was so scared. I stared at him the entire time that I did the presentation. It was the worst possible presentation anybody could ever do. But here's what happened. First of all, we signed up people because it was the first time they ever heard that presentation. So even though it was the very worst, it was the only one they'd ever heard. So it was the best one as far as they were concerned. Okay. So we signed people up because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. That's the first thing. But the biggest thing that happened for me is I realized it was like a little seed that was planted. And I realized, you know what? I can do this. But you never know what you can do until you actually do it, right? You never know your possibility and the magic that you have inside of you, your superpowers, until you actually do it. It was like the beast unleashed that day. Now, I'm not saying that I went out and I just exploded and I was just speaking to all of these people, but I just started presenting, and I started presenting to 5 people, to 10 people, then 15 people, then 20 people. And then I'll never forget when I was in a room of 1,000 people, and I got up there like a deer in headlights. It was the worst presentation ever. Like, I seriously almost forgot my name. Like, I couldn't even remember my name. Like, that's how scared I was in front of 1,000 people. But I did it. And when I got off stage, I was like, well, if I can do that, then I can do anything, right? And then I'll never forget when an owner of our company called me up and said, Mindy, we want you to speak. And there were 25,000 people, okay, in a stadium. And I said, are you sure you don't want Jeremy? And they were like, nope, we want a gal, we want you. I stressed about it. I had so much anxiety for 10 days before we had to do that. Like, I literally was so scared. Like, you don't understand how scared I was. Okay. I was so scared that I was shaking. I could hardly speak, but I did it. And because I kept just doing it, even though I didn't want to, because I kept doing it, even though I was scared to death, it's how I've been able to get to where I am today. because I just face my fear every single day. And so every day, what is that one thing that scares you to death that you're willing to do? 5 seconds of insane courage can change your life. 5 seconds, 10 seconds of insane courage can change your life. Like just face that fear every single day. And I promise you, magic will happen in your life. Like huge things will happen for you. Okay. So the fourth thing that leaders are, okay, is they have a servant's heart. They care about people. In fact, Tina Joy Carroll, we were at an event in Milwaukee, and one of the things that she said from stage, and as soon as she said it, I'm like, that is why she is so successful, because she has this attitude. Okay, leaders have an attitude of caring about people. Tina said this, and I've always had this motto, okay? If I can help enough other people get what they want, I will always have what I want. So true. This comes from Zig Ziglar way back when, okay? If you can help enough other people get what they want, you will always have what you want. The reason why Tina Joy Carroll is so successful is because that's one of her mottos. I help people win, okay? And she understands that if she can help other people win, then eventually she will win. If you can help enough other people win, then you will win. So every day, another question you should ask yourself is, what value am I adding to the marketplace today? How can I add value to this person? What can I do for this person to help them get to their goals, to help their life better? Your income is a direct reflection of the value you add to the marketplace. So what value are you adding every single day? You can add value in so many ways. You can add value just by a smile. You can add value by, running with somebody and drawing out a game plan for them and then helping them connect with people. Like it can be really big things, or it can be something as simple as a smile. It can be a post that adds value and it inspires people that are following you. Like, how can you add value every single day? If you just, eat the ugly frog and are bold every single day, and you add value every single day and, care about people, your whole life will change. Like you will be the best leader on the planet. Okay, last but not least, leaders are resilient. Okay, they're solution oriented and resilient. So leaders understand that there are going to be problems. Like if we don't have problems, we're not in business, right? Every business has problems. So if you're not having any problems in your business, then that means no business is happening. So we want to be excited about that there is business happening, things are happening, or we're taking it to a next level and we run into a problem. Like that's normal, right? Leaders understand that there's problems, but they're resilient and they're always solution oriented. You think about these top leaders. Henry Ford, I love his story because and I don't remember exactly what kind of engine, you will probably know. Somebody put it in the chat if you remember, but he was trying to do something that the world had never done with an engine. And his engineers kept saying, this can't happen. It just cannot happen. And he said, we'll make it happen. Let's figure it out. We're going to do it. Like he was just resilient. And anytime they ran into a problem, he's like, okay, well, what else is possible? I love that question. In fact, I have it on a mug here in my room. What else is possible? What else can we do? Like whenever you run into a challenge or a problem, then just ask yourself, well, what else is possible? What else can I make happen? How can I overcome this challenge? Just be resilient. So leaders are resilient and they always are solution oriented. So those are the 5 key things. There's so many more leadership traits, but if I really think about the top 5 things that leaders are, they're bold. They add value every single day. They think big. They always have vision of where they're going, what they're creating, and they're intentional about making it happen. They're resilient, solution oriented, and they're unsatisfied with being average. They're unsatisfied with that status quo. If you take on those 5 leadership skills, You're going to start attracting people to you just like that. And if you look for traits in people that have those 5 key things, utilize your upline to bring them in. There is no reason why you can't go create whatever you want. Think about this. I'm going to end with this. To be a top producing presidential blue diamond, all you need is 3 amazing, great leaders to lead your team. That's all you need. Sometimes we make this so hard. So how do we attract those 3 amazing, great leaders? Well, we first have to be that person at the very best that we can. Okay. We're not going to be perfect in this, but be the best that you can every single day. Be the best version of yourself every single day. Attack the day, grow, work on these 5 things, and then also utilize your upline strengths and their power tools. Like, get them in front of these people that maybe you're having a hard time getting. And I will tell you, if you just do this, there is no reason why each and every one of you can't really truly create the success that you want. And I know that because I know where I was so many years ago. I know the things that scared me to death. I know, the struggles that I had. And I know if I can overcome them, each and every one of you, you have the power to be the very best leader that you possibly can to attract the sharp, successful people to you and really create the life that you want. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's go attack it. Let's go do these 5 things. The number one thing I want you to do is go do the work that you've been avoiding. Okay, that's where your magic is going to happen today. Go do the work that you've been avoiding. Okay, love you all. See you very soon. Bye, everybody.